Hi everyone, it's Ruby and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my top Netflix recommendations of 2023. So personally, at this point, I feel like I've watched the whole of Netflix. Like, I scroll down and I can literally name at least 2 things on each line, which is on the recommended page. That is a good thing, to be honest, because it means that I have more recommendations for you guys. So literally I've written up basically a whole page of recommendations, and I've separated them into series and films for you all. And I'm going to be telling you about my favourite ones and going through them all and showing you my recommendations in this video while doing my makeup at the same time, because I feel like this is quite a popular thing at the moment, especially on TikTok. People will show their makeup on videos while talking about their life and stuff like that. But I thought I'd switch it up and give a kind of a theme to it, which today is Netflix series and films. I also haven't done this sort of thing in ages. I feel like I haven't done any recommendation stuff. Let's get started. I'm gonna do my makeup while just telling you about the shows, and I can say from experience, all of these shows I'll be telling you today and all the films I'll be telling you about, I have watched, and there's certain ones which are probably my top favourite films and series, which I'll tell you guys when I get to them. Got my makeup. So the first show is Gossip Girl. I feel like this is actually quite a popular show, to be honest. I have watched this so many times. It's been one of my favourite shows for so long. This isn't on Netflix. There's 2 shows which I'm telling you about which aren't on Netflix today. There are 2 things which are one of my favourite shows, which I just had to mention even though they aren't on Netflix. Gossip Girl, honestly, it's such a good show. I like the 2007 one. There is a new one which I think was made in 2021. I haven't even bothered watching it because I feel like nothing can beat the original one, really. It's one of those shows that you can just go back to and watch, and you don't get bored of it because there's so many series. I can rewatch it and not remember what it's about, which is it's like rewatching it for the first time again, and it's just so good. It's really old, to be fair, so I feel like now is kind of the time where people are gonna stop talking about all the old but really good shows, and I feel like we need to bring them up again. So Gossip Girl is definitely one of them. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. I'm just putting concealer on. Next one is Gilmore Girls. It is on Netflix. All of the rest are on Netflix except from the last one. So Gilmore Girls, I didn't know about until I think it was a year ago maybe. I hadn't watched it until a year ago, and honestly I binge watched that. I think it was about a month. There's so many seasons to it as well. I binge watched that in about a month, and I also watched the reunion. Was it the reunion show? There was a film version of it, which is them when they're older, and I watched that straight after watching the series. It just showed how much I love it, and I also go back to that series so much. It's a classic. It is a real classic. I love this so much. This is the Halo Glow liquid filter. It is insane. Oh my gosh, I watch this every day. Basically, before I go to bed, when I go to sleep, I have to have something on in the background. I can't sleep in silence, and I can't fall asleep to silence. But the thing is, I can't put on a show which I haven't watched before, because then I'll just keep on watching it and I won't be able to fall asleep. So I have to put a show on which I've watched repeatedly and I literally won't want to watch because I just know what's going to happen, so there's no point. And what's that show? It is Friends. If you haven't watched Friends, then I don't know how if you haven't heard of it, I don't know how, because honestly, probably one of the best shows I've ever watched. And I fall asleep to it every night because I've rewatched it I'm not even overreacting, I think I've rewatched it all, and if you think about how many seasons there's so many seasons. I've rewatched it all about 5 times, I think, at this point. When I like a show, I'm deep into the show, and Friends is just one of those things I can't get over. I've put these 2 shows together because they're probably my top 2 favourite shows, which I can rewatch, and I can rewatch all the time without getting bored. So the next one is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because it's just so good. And Rayleigh actually introduced it to me years ago, and I don't stop watching it, to be honest. It's so good. It's like a comedy, but it's when you first see it, you'll think it's quite when I first saw it, I was oh, it's one of those cop shows, I don't really want to watch it, but it's so not. It's so funny and I love it. I can just sit there and watch it for hours, even though I already know what's happened in literally every I can literally recite some of the scenes to you at this point. I literally know what's going to happen in every episode now, but I can just rewatch it so many times and I just don't get bored because I just love it so much. Like, I love it. This is probably one of my favourite makeup products. It is the Barry M Luminizer and it gives the prettiest shine to your makeup. This you're probably going to think is quite like random, but it's just one of those shows which I can watch. Like, sometimes me and my family will sit down and watch something, but like, you know, when you just can't decide, like my family, we will sit there for like literally an hour trying to find something to watch which we all agree on, because we all like different types of shows. Like dad likes sci-fi, which personally is my least favourite type of film. Rayleigh likes anything like crime related. Mum likes comedies, and I like comedies, to be fair, as well. So we never decide, and it always comes down to watching this because it's just something we all love and it's just such a classic. Come Dine With Me. You've probably heard it, you've probably seen it on like the TV when you put it on like a channel, it just always goes to it. It's that show when I was younger, when it would come on the TV, because you'd have to like wait when you're on holiday because it's like the channels, and it would come on and you'd be so excited because it was my favourite. I love it. It's such a classic. It's so easy to watch, and I just find it really funny because some of the people on there are crazy and we always like to make fun of them. But it is on Netflix. I didn't realise it was on Netflix. I can always just go back to it and enjoy it. Such an easy watch, and there's so many seasons. The next one, I don't know if you'd heard of it, because I don't know if it is a popular show. It should be, because everything about the show is hilarious. It's called Schitt's Creek. It is on Netflix. I literally never came past it until Mum introduced me to it, and me and my family watched it non-stop. I was so upset when it finished, because that went on for months and it was like our show. It's a comedy again, but it's really, really funny. I love Schitt's Creek. I wish I could rewatch it for the first time again. I never got over that show. So the next series, it's called The Good Place. I actually think it was popular. I think it was a popular thing. It's really good. The reason I'm not telling you about what the shows are about is because I'm such a big spoiler. Like, I will accidentally try and explain like kind of in like a vague detail about what a show's about, and then I'll give everything away that happens in it. So I'm not going to talk about that. I really love it. It's like kind of about people who are dead and they go to heaven. I really just gave something away. It's really good though. I'm not going to say anything about it because I just gave it away in the first 5 seconds of trying to explain vaguely what it's about. You probably already heard of this show, but I have to mention it because if you haven't watched it, then I don't know how. Outer Banks. That's what I need to say. Like, there doesn't need any detail about the show. It's so good. I'm obsessed with it. I just finished watching the 3rd season, and you know what? Personally, didn't think it was good as the second. The second was my favourite, but things that happened in it were saucy. I just got the ick from myself. I'm not a very good multitasker, so I probably should have thought this through before I decided to do my makeup while explaining things. The next show is Vampire Diaries, which I found out has been taken off Netflix. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm quite upset. I don't know where you can watch it, but I'm going to recommend it to you anyways because I have finished it ages ago and I really enjoyed it. It's one of those shows, I did enjoy it, but I kept losing interest in it because it did get a bit like repetitive. Like, I do have to be honest, like it did get a little bit repetitive, but in the end I did enjoy it and it was a good watch. The next one you probably already know about again, but it is Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I actually was addicted to this. I had a phase through my life. It was like 3 months ago I went through a phase where I was just obsessed with this show. Like, I non-stop watched it. It is entertaining, to be fair. Like, it is really entertaining. On Netflix there is like, they're the really old versions of the show. There's a couple seasons of it and it's for free, but you can also watch the other ones on Amazon Prime, but I haven't because it costs money for each season. I swear it used to be free on Amazon Prime, but it's not anymore. But you can watch a couple of the seasons on Netflix. So I think I do prefer the younger series because they're just really entertaining, and I feel like it's more realistic. I feel like the seasons now, I have seen snippets of them, I feel like it's more staged a little bit. I don't know if it is staged, but I prefer the older ones anyways. I don't really have that much more makeup to do. What else do I have to do? I'm doing quite like natural makeup. I don't want to do anything too much. Oh, blush. This is how the makeup is looking right now. Very glowy. This is my favourite Benefit Dandelion blush. I got it in the advent calendar years ago and I haven't looked back since. This is actually the one I got in the advent calendar and it's lasted so long, but I love it. It even smells really good. Okay, the next show is 13 Reasons Why. This is definitely for like older people because it's quite a deep show, and I didn't realise until I watched that it was an 18. Didn't realise that, but it is an 18, but I don't know if it should be, because I didn't think it was an 18 when I watched it. It didn't feel like it. It is quite dark and deep, but I think it is a good show to watch. Like, I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favourites actually. There is a lot to it and it's about like quite serious subjects, so if you're not up for that and if you like comedies, then I would recommend the other ones, but it is a good watch. Like, I really enjoyed it. Okay, this is the only other one which isn't on Netflix. Oh my gosh, look at my hair parting. I didn't realise this until right now. My hair parting's been off the whole video. So the next series is, this is the other series which isn't on Netflix. It's called The Morning Show. It's got Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon in it. This is probably my favourite series I've ever watched. Honestly, it was so good, and that ending to the series, I can't get over it. Like, it was so good. It like stuck with me for so long. I need to rewatch it. Like, they're just such good actors. After I watched that, I was like, that's made me want to be an actress. It was so good. I so recommend that one. And then the final series is called, I can't read, I have to read it from here because there's so much to it. The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window. It's like a crime. It's a crime. It's got Kristen Bell in it again, who I love her. I love her acting. It's quite a weird show. It's quite a weird series, to be fair. Like, it is weird. It's got so many twists to it. I love any crime thing. I love crimes. Wait, that sounded weird. I love like crime series. I think they're so good. I love anything murder mystery. But that is all the series I recommend. There is a lot to them, so if you're sat at home wondering what to watch, then you've got a lot more things on your list now. I'm going to do the films while doing my hair. I think I might put it in a claw clip today. The first movie recommendation is Grown Ups. I literally grew up watching Grown Ups. It was my top like film, and I found it so funny. It also has like some of my favourite actors in it. It has, I always get confused, not Andy Samberg, it has Adam Sandler in it. I get confused with them two names. I love him. Anything with him in it, I'm obsessed with. So I loved Grown Ups so much, and I still do. I rewatch it all the time. It's a classic. Then we've got Hunger Games, The Hunger Games. When I heard of The Hunger Games, like my parents told me about it, I thought it was one of those like adult shows which were like really, I don't know how to explain it, those like Battlefield ones which were like weird because it just sounded like that sort of thing. Thought it was like The Gladiator. I liked The Gladiator, that was a good film actually. I recommend that. It's not on the list, but I recommend it. I thought it was like that one, which I didn't really like the idea of, to be honest, at the time. Then I watched it and I was like, this is so good. And then I watched the other ones and I was like, these are good, but the first one's better than these ones. Definitely, nothing beats the first one. The Hunger Games is such a good film series. Like, I really, really loved it. This next one is kind of like The Hunger Games. It reminded me of it. It's Divergent. That's a series as well. There's 3 different films to it. They were meant to make a 4th one, but they didn't. It is like Hunger Games, I'd say. It's kind of that sort of film, I would say, in a way. It's got kind of the same type of things going on in it. I think it was like a huge trend on TikTok for a while, mostly because of the guy in it, because he's really good looking. When we were watching it, I made eye contact with my sister and we were like, my hair has actually got so much shorter because I got it cut and it's so short. The next one is like a romantic comedy, I would say. It's called How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I didn't know about this film. I don't know if it's a very popular film. It's so good. I really love it. It's like one of my top like romance films because it's just so funny. And I love the girl in it. I've forgotten her name, but she's so pretty. And her dress in the end, if you've watched it, you'll know the dress she wears at the end is so gorgeous. I love the colour and the way it fits. It's so nice. I guess the next three are kind of Christmassy films, but also not. You can kind of watch them at any time of the year and get away with them. And these three, oh, one of them is like probably one of my favourite films, I'd have to say. It is Love Actually. You've probably heard of it, but if you haven't watched it, then you have to, because it's got some great actors in it actually, and it's just a classic. As well as The Holiday, which probably my favourite film. It's my mum's favourite film as well, and she showed me it and I was like, I get why you love it so much. It's so good. This next one as well, I'm putting these as like kind of a trio because they're kind of, I guess, Christmassy films. People tend to watch them at Christmas time. Nativity. Like, I literally grew up watching that film. Like, it is, even when I'm like this age, I still watch it. I think so many people do as well, to be fair. I love it. It's so good. There's nothing I don't like about that film. Okay, I think my hair is straight now. Yeah. Currently trying to decide which claw clip to wear. I got this from Amazon, right? This is the brand. I don't really know what it's called. Hyun. This is a claw clip pack. It hasn't got all of them in there right now because they're in different places of my room. But it came with 7 claw clips. I think it was for £5. And honestly, if you go into any shop or you buy from any other place, you'll get about like 3 claw clips for that price. And it comes in different colours. Yeah, and they're really good claw clips as well. I use them literally every day and they hold my hair really well. I'm trying to decide on the colour. I'm wearing like a grey like tracksuit, so anything's really going to go with it. And I haven't worn this pink one yet because none of my outfits have gone with it, so I think I'm going to have to go with this one. Probably one of the funniest films I have ever watched is Meet the Fockers. Meet the Fockers is one of the funniest films ever. I think there's like, I don't know how many films there is to it, but I've watched them all and it's just so funny. Like, it's one of those films I can rewatch so many times and my whole family loves it. I love that film so much, especially the first one. Yeah, it's definitely one of the funniest comedies I've ever watched. I've 2 more. So I'm just gonna, with my hair, I think I'm gonna do a ponytail. So I'm just keeping my bangs out of it. I'm gonna do a ponytail like here, I think, like midway through my hair. It's not too high because we're adding the claw clip to make it higher anyways. The next film, which has 2 films to it, I think. You've probably heard of it. It was like a massive hit. It's got Millie Bobby Brown in it. It's Enola Holmes. Really good. Louis Partridge is in it, and I think so many people are obsessed with him as well. But it's a really good film. The theory is Enola is Sherlock Holmes' sister, and it's kind of about her solving crimes. I love anything like murder mystery related, stuff like that. So it was a really big hit for me. I really enjoyed it. And it's filmed quite cool as well because it was like, she would like sometimes like turn back to the camera and talk to them, and it kind of, I thought that was a cool way to film it because it's quite like, you don't really see that in many films. Normally they're just acting, but she kept turning to the camera and explaining stuff that was going on. And it worked with the film as well. I'm putting the claw clip in now. There. Whenever I do a ponytail, I'll put a claw clip in it because it just makes it look so much better. Like, I used to not wear ponytails at all because I didn't like the way they look. Or like high ponytails especially. But I love wearing my hair like this now. And my final film recommendation, which is my all-time favourite film, is Murder Mystery. It's got Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston in. I rewatched that film so many times and it's so good. It's like a murder mystery, and you probably know by now, but it's my favourite type of film. I loved that film, and I think they're coming out with the second one, which I will be keeping track of because I will definitely be watching that straight away when it comes out. That's my last film recommendation, and that's the one that I probably recommend to you the most. It's like a crime, murder mystery comedy. Okay, done. So those are all my Netflix recommendations to you all, and if you haven't watched any of these, I hope I helped. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see any other like recommendation type videos, because I definitely could do like another one. I was thinking about like one which is like my favourite series in one. I do have like particular favourites. Or like any other like Q&As, assumptions, like kind of sit down and talk type videos, then make sure to put them in the comments. Thank you for watching. I am now ready for the day, and I will see you all in my next week's video. Bye! Enchanté.